Hello, everyone. If you've landed here, whether by accident or intentionally, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I'm your host, Leticia Remauro. And I thank you for joining me tonight because tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Iran because I think it's important that we understand the history of Iran. And um, I'm going to right from the beginning say that the only reason I was able to do this in a visual way was because of Deutsche Welle, DW.com, who actually last year or earlier this year put out like a mini documentary on Iran, and I will admit that I cut it up so that it wasn't just me talking to you, and there may wind up being a situation where this gets banned from YouTube, but I don't care because I want everybody who's here to understand how interesting Iran is and its history is. I mean, in essence, Iran was the clampets of the world. Really crazy shit. Hi, Kevin. Can we have the real Iranian flag sooner than later? Fingers crossed. Yes, I hope so. I think so. I think so. Make the real Iranian flag great again. Yeah. Hi, Debbie. How are you? Hi, Francine. How are you? And Kevin, hi. Angela Ricca, hello. Good evening, Kevin Young. Aloha, Centillion. How are you, brother? Yeah, so I say that they were the clampets of the world because, they were kind of a sleepy little country tucked away in like midway between Europe and Russia, and I'm not good with geography, and the only reason, if I get this wrong, forgive me, but they were really like nomadic. They were tribal, not nomadic, tribal, but they moved, they moved sheep, they did a lot of things that were the people who lived in Iran for many, many years while Western civilization was becoming industrialized. Iran was still farming and goat herding and very much keeping to the old ways. They were the people of Cyrus the Great. They were very proud of who they were. And then a dynasty sprung up, the Pahlavi dynasty, if you will. The first Shah was the Shah during World War I, and then his son took over for him in the 1950s. And it wasn't by his choice either. It was because Russia and the UK kind of occupied Iran and forced Pahlavi Sr. out and put the young one in. And they just occupied the country. So I think that the reason that we need to talk about this is because we have to understand who we're fighting and what's going on. So do you all agree? I mean, I know there were a lot of things that were going on in America today, including, the terrorist attack. But we've been saying here the whole time that the sleeper cells were going to be woken up, and they were going to start causing damage because that's what they do. So unfortunately, the Michigan attack on the synagogue, fortunately, nobody was hurt there. Well, somebody was hurt, but nobody was killed. The attack on the Dominion, that was a different story, and that was really, really terrible. But let's continue with Iran. Before 1979, they were a country which everyone visited, kind of like current Dubai. My father-in-law worked for the airline. Oh no, they definitely were. The Pahlavi was a Western a Western educated young man, which is why America and the UK wanted him installed. But the old timers in Iran didn't care for him very much because he was going against their customs. And I'm going to show you. Hi, Colleen. How are you? Okay, so this is a short video. We have about 15 minutes though worth of video today. So this was the early Iran. All right. When I say early, I mean not like beginning of time, because they're one of the oldest cultures that there were. But this was from World War I on.
To understand the revolution, you have to know about Iran's place in geopolitics. Let's take a closer look at the map. Iran shares borders with Turkey, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and back then the Soviet Union, where today we find Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. By size, the country is slightly smaller than Alaska. Its position makes it a natural gateway between Asia, Europe, and Africa, and a strategic buffer. Mohammad Reza Pahlavi came to power in the middle of World War II. Back in August 1941, Britain and the Soviet Union jointly invaded neutral Iran. They were afraid that Nazi Germany might gain influence over Iran's strategic oil reserves or block Allied supply routes to the USSR. Reza Shah, Mohammad Reza's father, who'd been in power for 16 years, was forced to abdicate under pressure from the occupiers. His then 21-year-old son took the throne. The Allied occupation by Britain and the Soviet Union ended in 1946, and American troops who had secured supply routes during the war withdrew. But the Allies kept Iran under close scrutiny, and it quickly became a focal point of the emerging Cold War. In the middle of it all was Mohammad Reza Shah, educated in Switzerland, fluent in French, English, and his native Persian. His passion for fast cars, skiing, modern technology, and Western culture all made him quite a cosmopolitan monarch. The Shah's visions of modernizing Iran built on foundations laid by his father. The elder Shah understood that for Iran to become a modern power, it needed to feel unified as one nation. That vision was supported by the 1906 Constitution, which created protections for minorities and a framework for a more inclusive society. As Roya Hakakian's family experienced firsthand, this approach transformed the lives of Iran's minorities.
By the 20th century and the rise of the Pahlavis to power, the Jewish community, along with other minorities throughout Iran, were invited to become part of the larger idea, which was an Iranian niche.
In the first years of Mohammad Reza Shah's reign, Iran was still predominantly poor, largely rural, and recovering from the challenges of the war. Beneath the surface, though, waited Iran's fortune: oil. Lots of it. Soon, the Anglo-Persian Oil Company, a precursor to today's BP, built one of the world's largest refineries in Abadan and pumped out millions of barrels. But under the deal in place at the time, Iran received only a small percentage of the profits, while the company and the British government collected the lion's share of the earnings. By the 1950s, Iranians were increasingly upset over this arrangement. They thought the country's natural resources should primarily benefit their own development. In March of 1951, Iran's parliament voted overwhelmingly to nationalize the oil industry. Mohammad Mossadegh, who became prime minister that April, was chosen specifically to make it happen. The response from Britain was swift and devastating, a complete boycott of Iranian oil that crippled Iran's economy and emptied its state coffers.
Okay, so see why I call them the clampets of the world. You know, they didn't realize that they had oil underground because they were, you know, they were not technically sophisticated in that way before the Shah came. They were still very religious and they were very nomadic. And so, you know, the UK was kind of like Mr. Drysdale, right? You know, using their money for his gain. Why is this happening? Using their money for his gain and not, you know, for the benefit of the people, which pissed the people off, because here a 21-year-old, they got rid of the father, right? And then they put in a 21-year-old. Why do you think they did that? They did that because they wanted to be able to control him, right? So we've got to really understand why they hate America right now. In 1979, Valentine's Day, a Marine sergeant was shot and an Afghani ambassador was killed in Iran. Hello, Andrew. How are you? Iran used to be known as Paris of the Middle East, from what I have read. Yes, indeed. And guess where Khomeini, before he came back, guess where he was living? Paris. The Ayatollah was living there. Hi, Lucille. Good to have you. Britain, interesting. Oh, it gets more interesting. It allows the central banking system raping resources. Yes. And, once again, it's the UK at the beginning, right? The UK was colonizing everywhere and America was right on its heels. So everybody had their hand in Iran. But the fact that America and the UK, well, then Britain, kind of told the dad he had to go and put the son in, that was interesting stuff. Then Carter had a backdoor deal in exchange for pistachio nut orchard transplanted to California, USA. Indeed. I mean, Carter fucked the whole thing up. Khomeini would have never gotten back in if it wasn't for Carter and the CIA messing everything up. So anyway, here's what happened with the Shah.
After the first U.S. British-led coup attempt failed on August the 15th, a second one succeeded on August 19th. Pro-Shah forces stormed government buildings. Mossadegh's supporters fought back, but by nightfall it was over. Mossadegh was arrested. The Shah returned from Rome, where he'd been waiting to see the outcome. In the aftermath, Iran's oil industry was reorganized under an international consortium that included the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, 5 major U.S. firms, and others. Iran didn't get control of the operations, but it did receive 50% of the profits, a symbolic improvement over previous arrangements. From then on, the Shah ruled with growing authoritarian power, with the U.S. as his backer. Washington saw Iran as a useful ally in stopping Soviet influence, but the alliance also fueled anti-American resentment. In the 1960s, the Shah had consolidated power. With American backing secure, he launched his ambitious White Revolution in 1963. It was called that because it aimed to modernize Iran without the bloodshed of red revolutions like Russia's. There was a land reform to break the power of feudal landlords. Women got the right to vote. Literacy campaigns educated the masses. The two Pahlavis are remembered by many as modernizers who tried to turn Iran from a traditional society into a more industrial, secular country. But their reforms also felt to many like a heavy-handed top-down version of westernization, without much respect for Iranian culture or for real democratic values. In 1967, the Shah staged one of the most audacious ceremonies in modern history. On October the 26th, 26 years after ascending the throne, Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi crowned himself Emperor of Iran. The symbolism was unmistakable. Like Napoleon in 1804, the Shah placed the crown on his own head, sending the clear message that he owed his authority to no one, not to foreign powers or religious authorities, not even to traditional Persian customs. Iran's economy was booming thanks to rising oil revenues. The Savak secret police had seemingly crushed political opposition. The Shah's modernization programs were transforming the country's infrastructure. He felt powerful enough to crown himself as the architect of modern Iran. But this moment of supreme confidence turned out to be the calm before the storm. The very grandeur that the Shah thought demonstrated his strength would later be seen by many Iranians as evidence of his dangerous megalomania and proof that he hadn't really won the support of the people. Oil wealth turned Iran into one of the Middle East's strongest military powers. Between 1963 and 1973, Iran's economy grew at an average rate of 11% per year, and the 1973 oil crisis quadrupled prices overnight. Suddenly, the Shah had more money than he knew what to do with. He invested billions of dollars in advanced American weaponry, F-14 Tomcat jets, cutting-edge radar systems, and modern tanks, making Iran the largest buyer of U.S. arms by the mid-1970s. To the outside, Iran appeared successful as a regional power and U.S. ally. But internally, growing inequality, political repression, and cultural tensions were creating the perfect storm for a revolution. Jimmy Carter, who had become U.S. president in 1977, spent New Year's Eve that same year with the Shah at a state dinner in Tehran. Iran, because of the great leadership of the Shah, is an island of stability in one of the most troubled areas of the world. On behalf of the people of the United States, I would like to offer a toast at this time to the great leaders of Iran, the Shah and the Shahbanu, and to the people of Iran, and to the world peace that we hope together we can help to bring. His toast became infamous, given that protests against the Shah would start only a few days later. But it was also part of Carter's fundamental dilemma.
So what was Carter's dilemma? So the Shah, who the America and Britain installed, because they wanted to be able to control him, was westernizing Iran and giving their American oil companies were there. Americans were building dams there. Israel was there. There was all relationships with all the surrounding countries there. The Shah welcomed everybody, but the people, the Muslims, the Islamists, the fundamentalists were kind of left out of it, right? The clerics were left out of it and they didn't want Iran to become too westernized. They wanted their country to be their country, and they wanted it rooted in their religion. And so the biggest critic of the Shah at the time was Khomeini. And he was a political entity, and he was appealing to those people who felt disenfranchised, the people that were living in the hills, the people who were living on the outskirts, who weren't in Tehran. Because think of it like Marie Antoinette. Okay, and like the French Revolution. Here was a woman who did not understand that people were actually starving. That's what the problem was. The Shah had so much money and was so detached from his country and its customs because he was raised elsewhere, come back, and his goal, because his biggest supporters were the Western world, his goal was to westernize Iran. So the people who were left over wanted to go backwards in time. And that's a little scary when you think about it, because even here in America, right, we're saying, let's go back. But the quote unquote revolutionaries are trying to move us forward. So they think. But let me get to your comments. So UK still there today. Well, they after Khomeini, the UK, everybody was thrown out after Khomeini. Big dollars in pistachio nuts, Caspian Sea country alliance with Russia. Yeah, the other thing that they had in Iran was sturgeon and caviar. They wouldn't eat it. They would feed it to the goats. It was crazy. So everybody wanted the caviar, and guess who went there to get it? The British and the Americans. This is so much to get your head around. It's near impossible. You just follow the trend. So now you get it that after World War I, the Allies occupied the place because they wanted to make sure the boats could get through, and to protect against someone else taking that piece of land, kind of like what Trump wants to do with Greenland, right? And then America withdrew, but and the Brits stayed, and they started mining oil, and they did not give Iran their fair share, right? They were the Clampets, those backwoods hillbillies. What the hell do they know? So because there was a parliament, they actually elected a prime minister who was actually a socialist, a Marxist, who said, no, Brits, you can't take all our money. We're going to nationalize oil like they did in Venezuela. and we're going to give it to the people. But it never did get to the people. And so the Shah was there, but the prime minister was there, and he kicked out the British because he nationalized oil. And so it created a big problem for Reza, the Shah. Everybody started to starve, the economy crashed, and he didn't know what to do because he was installed. He was a puppet for us and for the UK. Remember red dye pistachio nuts? Absolutely. We are not destroying the weapons of Iran for regime change. Trump said it's up to the people to make their change. They asked for the change. You're absolutely right. Golf 2 on air alert. When Valentine's Day open house happened, I was on Alpha Alert. Kenneth Krause, USMC. Oh, wow. A salute to Shah triggered an unforeseeable backlash with coincidence. Yeah. So the Shah thought that he had everything going for him, but his problem was he didn't understand his people. And the Khomeini was actually able to talk to the people in a way that we're hearing Kamala Harris and Obama and others talking to our people today. Not that UK is still there, but they were slow to help us. Oh, yeah. Because they're part of the problem, the socialist problem. Read his book, Kenneth House, USMC. Okay, we'll do it. Guzzo worked in the message center. Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting. We'll read the book. All right, so let's see what happens. So Khomeini was saying that this kid is not Iranian. He doesn't act like Iranian. He doesn't uphold our culture, and you are being left out in the cold. And what happened under Shah Reza, is that so many people were educated. Women were educated. People were going to college. People were, they had a lot that they wanted to be involved with, but instead of letting them be involved, because he was always under constant fire, he ruled like an authoritarian. He stopped protests from being allowed to happen. He killed people, and it wound up backfiring. It didn't matter that he was, bringing an economy to Iran and he was bringing freedom to Iran. What people saw was only the negative. They had so much, like us, they had so much that they started looking for the unhappiness, and they found it. Watch.
The revolution began in January 1978 after an anonymous article in the Iranian newspaper Ayatollahs attacked Ayatollah Khomeini, calling him un-Iranian and unfit to lead the clergy. The piece triggered outrage among seminary students, whose protests soon escalated into a nationwide uprising. Iranians from different sections of society joined forces, including secular intellectuals, leftist students, traditional bazaar merchants, the urban poor, and religious conservatives. They were united less by a shared vision for Iran's future than by their opposition to the Shah's authoritarian rule. At that time, Khomeini was even compared to Mahatma Gandhi.
He knew exactly what to say to seem as though he was going to be a leader for everybody, that you didn't need to be just a devout Muslim to follow him. You could be anything. You could be a Marxist, you could be a woman, that he was there, lead the people to a new future.
The other thing that Khomeini did, which was quite interesting, is he cultivated the young. He was very keen on the young. He knew that, what you do is you have a student body that will support you.
By 1978, nationwide strikes, especially in the oil industry, had brought Iran's economy to a standstill, while mass protests filled the streets. That August, a fire at the Rex Cinema in Abadan killed more than 400 people. To this day, it's unclear who started it, regime agents or Islamist militants. But most Iranians blamed the Shah, destroying what was left of his legitimacy. Weeks later came Black Friday. On September the 8th, troops opened fire on thousands of demonstrators defying martial law. They killed at least 64 people, possibly many more. From that moment on, there was no turning back. The Shah's rule was on the ropes. On January the 16th, 1979, the Shah departed Iran for what was officially described as a vacation. But everyone understood it was permanent exile, leaving a power vacuum that Khomeini would fill with remarkable speed. On February the 1st, 1979, Khomeini arrived in a chartered Air France jumbo jet from Paris, where he'd spent the last months of his exile. With him on board were close advisors, family, and more than 100 international journalists. The New York Times wrote, "For this one day, whatever the weeks ahead may bring, the nation went mad with joy." In March 1979, a national referendum asked Iranians a single question: do you want an Islamic Republic? Khomeini's camp claimed that 98% of voters said yes, although there were no international observers, and many opposition groups boycotted the vote. Still, by December, Khomeini became Iran's supreme leader. November the 4th, 1979, a group of radical pro-Khomeini students stormed the U.S. embassy in Tehran and took more than 60 people hostage. For most of the hostages, the drama would last 444 days. The students demanded that the U.S. send the Shah back to Iran. They probably didn't know that he was already dying of cancer. Even after he died, the hostage crisis dragged on through months of tense negotiations, until the U.S. and Iran reached the Algiers Accords. The agreement in January 1981 included guarantees the U.S. would not interfere in Iran's internal affairs, the world that Iran wouldn't bow to superpowers. And it gave the regime an excuse to push out moderates who were hoping to make peace with the West.
Okay, so look at the thread. I'm going to get to your comments in a minute, but look at the thread. They had everything, but Khomeini and others kept pushing the narrative that the Shah was bad. He was terrible. He was a dictator. He was an authoritarian. He was this. He was that. You know, he's destroying you. He's destroying democracy. That's what they said, because the prime minister who was ousted, he wanted like a true democracy, socialism, right? Communism, Maoism, whatever. So they were using the same conversation that they're using today against Trump to actually undermine themselves. They used kids. Why? Because kids are easily plied. They're easily brainwashed. The same reason that America and the UK and Britain said, "Oh no, Reza one, we don't want you. We want your 21-year-old son. So get out of there and put your kid in." And he was happy to do it because he would still be somewhat in control, but not really, because Reza one wanted a prime minister. He wanted a government. The America kind of pulled out that parliament and that government part, and not just America, British also, the UK also, and that's how the kid becomes like a megalomaniac, and we start seeing his authoritarian traits, because absolute power corrupts absolutely. But see the trend. The same thing happening today here that happened there. It was a beautiful country. Everybody was equal. And I have a little bit more, just a couple more minutes and clips. So in essence, Khomeini just wanted Iran to be a religious country, period. Right. Correct. He was going to he believed that Allah sent him to save his country. So you can't argue with somebody that believes God put them there to save something. Now look at the mayor of New York City, same playbook. Absolutely. Get the kids. Look at what's going on in America. The same storyline with Trump. Hate him. It doesn't matter if he does anything good. Hate him. And the young people and the women, they're hating him. The women went for Khomeini. The women who had everything, they thought they were going to have even more. Oh my God. Islam plus Marxism plus globalism, the unholy trinity joined together to destroy Western civilization. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So this really, you got to go look at this. You can find it on YouTube. Joyce Well, and I can't remember the name of it. Son of a bitch, I should. Seems like in the beginning of Iran, it was all inclusive and moving forward, but the Islamist leaders didn't like when it was going because their religion was being ignored. Exactly. They felt that they were losing their culture. Looks like this is what is going on in the UK seeping into America. God help us. 100% what's happening in America. The Iranians had no clue what they were agreeing to when they embraced the Islamic Republic. Same as the Cubans had no clue. Same as the Venezuelans had no clue. They do it the same way always. When you have too much, you look for the sadness, and that's what's happening. And who do they use? Children and women, always. Young people and women, always the ones that undermine. Kids equal Mamdani. Kids equal socialism. Kids and women equal stupidity, bad stuff. To Iran religion, anti-CIA. Yes. Well, the CIA, the CIA had a whole bad read on this whole situation. Carter, the thing is too, is that, Shah Reza abandoned his country. And, the CIA told them basically to scram because there was no way that they could, do anything about this, change it. But, the truth is that Reza didn't have a love for his country. He had a love for being in power, but he didn't have a true love of his country because he abandoned it. He said, I'm going on vacation while there were riots in the street, and he never came back again. And that's why somebody said to me that Prince Reza should go back. Fuck Prince Reza. He's a coward too. He's a coward too. Who should rise up? I can't say. I mean, like in Venezuela, Maria was, Machado. She makes sense, but she's going to have to make her way. She can't depend on America to do it. The same in Iran. They're going to have to make their way. They can't depend on us to do it. What can we do? We can send weapons. We can help them out, but we can't make the decisions for them. More afraid of CIA than Kenneth Krause. Gotcha. I'm going to read the book to decipher what you're saying. All right. So look at what wound up happening to Iran. Already, but
what began as a cry for freedom and justice became a theocracy many Iranians see as more repressive than the Shah. And that sense of betrayal is most clearly seen in the lives of women. Millions had joined the revolution hoping for equality. Instead, they lost many of the rights they had under the monarchy.
Women had expected to now not only not lose the rights that they already had, but gain more. But here was this leader who had just rose to power, who was already saying within a few days after he had risen to power that he wanted to bring the Islamic dress code laws back. So in other words, he wanted to force women under the veil again.
Today's Iran bears little resemblance to the prosperous, internationally connected country it was before 1979.
At the time, I remember people saying that the Shah spent too much time on the material needs of Iranians and not enough time on the spiritual needs of Iranians. But I can tell you today that many Iranians would be very happy with the material needs.
Iranians face economic stagnation, international isolation, and systematic repression, including public executions. According to Amnesty International and Iran Human Rights, more than 1,000 people were executed in Iran in 2025 alone, the highest number in at least 15 years. This surge in state violence coincides with Iran's ongoing crackdown on protesters, particularly women demanding basic freedoms. Protests have erupted repeatedly in 2009, 2017, 2019, and most powerfully in 2022 with the Woman Life Freedom movement. These uprisings represent a new generation's rejection of their parents' or grandparents' revolution. The vast majority of Iranians today were born after the 1979 revolution, and they don't see the Islamic Republic as a liberation from monarchy, but as the only oppressive system they know.
Okay, so there you go. That was made before this year when 30,000 protesters at least were killed. So what's the point of me talking about this? The point is this. Iran was never going to stop with America. Iran was never going to say, I don't know why this is getting dark. Iran was never going to say, we are not going after Israel. We're not going after America. We're not going after Britain. That was never going to happen. The thought by these leftists that Iran could suddenly coexist peacefully with the West is just, it's ridiculous. Because it could never exist peacefully with the West. Its whole goal under Khomeini and any of the theocracy, any of these religious orders, the whole goal was always going to be to kill America, to destroy Israel, to destroy England, to destroy the West. And they had the patience. They are fighting the war like they used to under Cyrus. They putting moles into people's camps to kill them. They don't want to kill us all at one time. They want to, and they didn't want it on their land. They wanted it on our land. And that's what they did. They sent out people. They sent out, spies. They sent out cells all over the world. And this was their goal. Their goal is to get rid of Western civilization. And if you watch this whole documentary, when Khomeini, when they were having the war with Iraq, they actually bought plastic keys from China and gave them to young children and made them martyrs, told them that if they died a martyr, here was their key to, their reward with Allah. It's a crazy fanatical religion, and Khomeini was just beyond. And the people that he brought in, he got rid of all of the people that wanted to make deals with, the West. He killed them all. Scholars, scientists, he got rid of them all because he knew that they would protest against him. So once he got in, he got rid of everyone, the students, the women, and you saw the pictures of how many women were in the street saying, we want you, daddy. We need you, daddy. We need a spiritual daddy. That's what they were saying. The women, the children, the students, they needed a spiritual daddy. And Khomeini was who it was. So they were never going to stop. Their intention is not to ever stop. And I knew that on 9/11. I said it on 9/12. Bush should have went in and just blown the country up. I mean, that, thank God I'm not the president, because I might have been a little too violent. But at any rate, so we had to go. We had to do it. There was only one president with balls to do it. And we had to flush out the cells, because how is he going to find who's here? It's really, it's crazy stuff. And we're going to need the UAE. We're going to need our partners over there. They're going to have to end this cancer once and for all. I don't know how the people are going to change. I don't know, because so many people are so brainwashed, and that country is divided right now. So many people don't remember being free, and they've only been brainwashed to believe that America and the West are just bad. They believe their reward is with Allah if they are martyred. And there are women who birth their children to die for Islam, to spread the word of Allah. And that goes on right now. And their television trains young children to do such things. So we had no choice, because if we didn't go, many more people would have died. Not just the 30,000 protesters, but think about all of the Islamists that are around the world waiting to strike. And we're going to see it. Please go get yourself protected. Like I said before, they wanted to change cultural civilization, but it's backfiring. Yes, and that's why we have to support Trump. And that's why people have to see that this is the same thing. It's parallel. Hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. All these women, all these young people, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. All these crazy men who want to be women, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. It doesn't matter that he gives us, low gas, more money. None of that matters. Hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. We only will listen to the people that, that we want to listen to. It can't be Trump, because that's the language that was used by Khomeini to get rid of Shah Reza. They made the masses hate him. They said that he was not a patriot. They said he was destroying democracy. They said he was taking away their rights. And to some extent, Reza, he did. He fell into their trap because he was afraid. He was a fucking coward. Anybody who would leave their country, fuck that. I'd go down. I'd have so many bullets in me. Watergate salad, secret ingredient is pistachio nuts. I get you. Totally insane. Iran has been saying death to America for years. Well, since 79 at least, because that's what they did. They had to have the enemy. When you have a common enemy, it's easy to unite. And that's what happened. So let's say there is no America today. Who wins, China or Islam? China. And I'll tell you why. Because China is slow and steady, and they have the people, and they're ruthless. See, Islam believe that if they die for their religion, they go to their reward. So they don't care if they die. Right? With China, they have a foot in everything. They want to be successful. They want to take over the world. That's what they want to do. Islam wants Allah on earth. You know what I mean? They want Islam. They want to take over the world, whereas China wants to run the world. Does that make sense? That's the only way I could explain it. And Notre Dame said it, the yellow man will rule the earth. And I can't figure out exactly how that's going to happen. China wants the world culture change also. Yes, they do. But they don't give a shit, right? They don't give a shit. There's no religion, in China. That's the problem. When you have the folks so focused on religion, that becomes your politics, that becomes a problem, because then people don't care if they die. Who backed the overthrow of the Shah government, if any at all? You mean Shah Reza? Well, that was I'm gonna that was a misread of Carter, for sure. Was it Russia? Could be. China at that time was not strong enough. But I'm sure Russia was involved. But I don't know. No, sorry, Guillermo Garcia. I won't shut up. You shut up and get the fuck out of here, because you don't know what you're saying or doing. I saw a video of the former leader. He stated it was their responsibility to start nuclear war to bring back Muhammad. That was at the UN in New York. Yeah, it's a religious situation. It's an absolute religious situation. And when you have a theocracy, you're already on the losing end, because they believe that their death will elevate them. That's why the Vikings were so successful, because they believed that if they died in battle, they would achieve Valhalla. So they didn't care. None of them wanted to die of the flu, So that's what made them and the Celts. So remember the berserkers who used to take off all their clothes? That's what made them so notorious and so difficult to fight against. And that's why, in some respects, that's what Trump is making us. He's trying to portray the United States military as the Vikings. They will fight to the end, and they will. And that's fabulous. And so will we as patriots fight to the end for our culture and our country, because our culture and our country truly is free. It's not an illusion of freedom. It is free. And if we don't fight for it, and if we don't keep it free, it's the last bastion of freedom on earth, because the UK is crumbling. Just look at what's going on there. Denmark, Sweden, they're all crumbling. Canada, we are all that is left. And that's why us as patriots have to be in some form at-home militia. We might not be organized with them, but we have to protect ourselves on the whole homeland. People running things over there project power through theology in order to push their agenda, their equivalent of our CIA. Yes, perfect. That was so well said. China, no quality control. Yeah, right. Exactly. No quality control is right. So only people over 47 remember freedom, really 60 and over if you count people over 13 years old in 1979. But there's not a lot of them left. That's the whole thing. If they, if they're the ones that were the ones that had it in their soul to protest are killed. But Shah Reza did the same thing. That's the problem. So he was a weak man. They should have let the father stay. They would have gotten not maybe exactly what Reza gave them, but they would have gotten close, and it would have. He wasn't strong enough, Reza. He just wasn't. And his son, I mean, why isn't he there? Why isn't he there? But yeah, that's the problem. Is there enough of them? Just like here, the oldest people have the strongest patriotism and love of freedom, because we know what freedom is. And the problem is they have everything. And when you have everything, you look for the holes, right? When I worked in Battery Park City, which was destroyed by 9/11, we used to have a problem with dogs peeing on sidewalks. Our big complaints in my office, damn it, with this thing. Our big complaint in my office was your dog urine all over the sidewalks, and bring out the police, give people tickets because they weren't cleaning up their dogs. That was, out of 20 complaints, 14 of them would be that. Then 9/11 happened, and the place was, a mess. And for a long time, we only had patriotism. We only had unity. Nobody was bitching, ragging, and moaning about anything. And before I left in 2012, the complaints were dog urine and poop again. So that's what happens. We cleaned it up so fast. We got Battery Park City back on its feet. Pataki got Lower Manhattan back on its feet. And then all of a sudden, people found something else to complain about. You get it? You get what I mean? Do you understand the analogy? When it was really bad, nobody thought about the tiny little things. So that's what's happening in America. We wanted better for our kids, and we spoiled the shit out of them, and we didn't give them any struggles. So how do they know when they have it right? If you have no struggles, how do you know when you have it good? And that's what happened to the people of Iran, and that's what's happening here. That's what happened to the people of Venezuela. That's what happened to the people of Cuba. I mean, these were all free, thriving countries before the communists came in, before they had a revolution. So we got to just think about that. Muslims could be considered yellow men. Well, right now there's more Muslims in the world than any other religion. So maybe, but I think that he meant Nostradamus meant the Chinese. Geopolitics, an understanding of other cultures, and be able to have dialogue with those cultures. And we're the only country that understands it. We have it all within our own country, and we all feel the same patriotism. Those of us that came here from other places, those of us who love our country, share the same patriotic feeling, even though we're all from other cultures. That's what's special about America. That was my point. There aren't many left. Yes, I got it. I'm sorry. If I didn't express that I got it, Yes, you're right. So I don't know. That's what the scary thing is. Who becomes the next leader? I don't know. How, the hope is that if they start seeing what's going, like what happened in Gaza, right? When they started seeing what they when what's in my face, when Elon Musk brought in Starlink and people started seeing what they could have in the world and that they could have stuff, the youngins didn't want to fight anymore. And that's what, because they got rid of all the leaders, right? In Gaza, with Hamas, they got rid of all the big guys. And then it was the young ones. And then do they really want to fight? No. Who fucking wants to fight? So that's what they're hoping for there. The problem is that there's millions of people. I mean, it's the size of Alaska, but there's millions of people there. I trained for a year to embed into the northern section of Afghanistan, work with the village elders, but it wasn't easy. God bless you, Santillian. God bless you. God bless you. God bless Guzzo. God bless Kraus. Just God bless everybody who served. I saw a video of the former leader of Iran. He stated they were needed to start nuclear war to bring back Allah. Yeah, I think you said that up there. Sunni Muslim, I think. Shia Muslim is the clerics. Shia Muslim, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so anyway, we gotta shake some sense into these kids, and we can't bury our head, and we can't question what Trump is doing, and we can't, I don't give a shit how much they poke and prod and bang you over the head and tell you that he's an idiot and he's a this and he's a that. No. They need to get people to hate him in order to get socialism, communism in, and they're succeeding. If you have a friend who's a parent of a kid in college, and the parent is, I'm a patriot, but my kid is an idiot, and then smack the parent and tell them to smack the kid. Show them this video. Show them. It was DW.com. It was on YouTube. What did I say? What did I ask for? Oh my God. It was actually in the beginning of it. I'll put it in here. We need to make people understand they're running parallel. Cuba did it. Venezuela did it. How many times are we gonna? Hitler did it. How many times are we going to repeat history? You fucking stupid humans. I can't. Our schools are intentionally not educating our children on socialism, communism, and the Cold War to bring it back. Jeff, you are absolutely right. They are pretending that this shit doesn't happen. See, that's why they want you to hate the Jews. They want you to hate Trump. They want you to hate Netanyahu. They want to, who's the they? The elitists, the globalists, the people who make money, the same people who went into Iran in the UK, from the UK and from America back then, the Winston Churchills and everybody else, to get their grubby little filthy fucking hands on the money, on the oil. We need to open our eyes. We need to get our nose out of fucking Words with Friends and Candy Crush and all those mind-numbing bullshit. And we better start scouring the internet, and we better start educating ourselves. Because if we're not educated, it's going to happen again. And that's where we are right now. So since our schools aren't doing it, ladies and gentlemen, it's up to us. It's up to us. And thank the Lord for Grok, Chat GPT, even though I like Grok the best. But you can check sources because the media right now is whitewashing everything because they work for, and they're owned by the people with the global elitists. So you can't listen to anything on the news. Even Fox has problems. You got to do it yourself. But we just have to use our head. It's just common sense. That's it. It's just common sense. Afghanistan in the outside provinces is all about local grassroots efforts for self-rule. No outside country involvement by government incursion. Yeah, that's. I don't know the answer here. I just know that we can't be involved in regime changes. We can't. It never works because, and that's why socialism doesn't work. Why didn't the regime change work in Iran when the Brits and America were involved? Because we wanted the money, right? And the money stayed at the top. And at the bottom, that's what the whole problem with Carter. Carter was like, oh, the Shah, the Shah, the Shah. But meanwhile, he was killing protesters. So how does an American president say, oh, Iran is so wonderful? And meanwhile, the guy is killing people. So the people whose family members got killed for protesting, that's why I say we can't be violent with the stupid people that are protesting and everything else. We can't do what they do. We can't do what they're doing at Charlie Kirk. We can't. And of course, the Democrats love using violence. I mean, they have the whole time. They love, keeping people as slaves, basically. They have for the whole freaking history of their party. We have to be better. We have to fight for the right for the assholes to say stupid shit. We're not going to fight for the right for them to harm us, but we're going to fight for the right for the assholes to say stupid shit. And we can't stop protests ever, ever. This country was founded on that. And that's why, but you see what they did to us with January 6th, right? Because that's what the Democrats do. They kill people that protest. Or arrest them, or put them in jail. Not us. We don't do it. They do it. Amen. U.S. Yeah, exactly. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Yeah, I'm hour long. I'm ending on a really fierce note because I think it's necessary. And I thank you for letting me blow off steam. Again, what was the name of it? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get the name of it. It is, I'm not going to be able to do it. All right. I'll do it when what did I do with you? Hold on. All right, there I am. I'll find it and I'll post it. But this was a really good documentary. And it was equal. You know what I mean? It was balanced. And that's what I liked about it. It wasn't what they're teaching kids in college. Called the spade a spade. Yeah. So true and very sad. Thank you and have a good weekend. Thank you, Susan. I grew up as a country boy and I had to talk to other property owners to be able to hunt their property. Same thing in Afghanistan. Well, do you think, Santillian, do you think that they're going to get their shit together? I mean, that's the problem is that there are places, in the world that want to remain tribal. And we want to westernize them. Why? Why must we westernize everybody? I get it, but some people want their culture. Oh, Tony, I'm not amazing. I'm just fed up and I'm old and I'm cranky as hell. And I just want us all to be informed because, it's so funny that the leftist idiots, tell us we're stupid, that MAGA is stupid. We're fucking pretty smart. Yeah, who knows? Iran has been closed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just know this is that we can't have anybody gunning for us constantly. We can't stop paying attention to the people that want to destroy America. And really the people that want to destroy America the most are the global elitists. So we should really just target them. We should convince Khomeini, the Ayatollahs and the Shias and the zealots that if they want to destroy America, go get the bankers. We might be okay then. I would think they might be like Afghanistan. I would think so too, but I don't know. I mean, education is the key, and right now, Russia's in the dark. China's in the dark. Iran's in the dark. Venezuela was in the dark, still is. Cuba's in the dark. There are more countries around the world where their populations are being kept in the dark than there are populations that understand what's going on in the world. And that scares me. And that's why we need Elon Musk. That we need education. I might have said the wrong thing. What did you say? That would be wrong. I couldn't imagine you saying the wrong thing. What did you say? Oh, did Facebook take you down? Golden age of civilization change. I think that what we need is just educate. We need to stop thinking that people are stupid and get them a real education. New York is in the dark too. Oh yeah, they are. Yeah. But it's interesting. The most informed people are in New York, and they've been mind fucked. But they've been mind fucked because the other side effectively did their job. Fuck Trump, hate Trump, fuck Trump, hate Trump. They have gotten a group of people together to believe that Trump wants to destroy America, even though everything he does is to promote America. And they don't see that the people that like the Newsoms and the Kamala Harrises and the Bidens, I mean, they hate Trump so much that they won't believe their own eyes. That's when things are bad. My last comment. It took down your last comment? What was that? Wait. Where is your last comment? It was moving fast and I was yelling, so I don't know. So let's say there is no America today. Who wins, China or Islam? That one? I don't think you said too much. I mean, unless you said something else. And of course, you can't call in and tell me what it was. Absolutely 100% true. I'm sorry. Jeff, absolutely 100% true. Educate yourself in geopolitics. That's how we fight and win wars. 5D chess. Santillian, I'm with you 100%. That's in business. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay. So DM me. Let me know what it was, Kevin, and I can read it then. If you DM me, where would I find it? Yeah, I don't know. Oh. All right. Well, anyway, it's been a crazy fucking weekend. It's going to get even worse. Just, hang in there. Stand tough. Make sure you're protected. Make sure you're cognizant. Make sure you look around. Don't be putting yourself in harm's way. Don't be fucking afraid. Don't let them, they won't even let me edit it. All right. You know what? DM me. Yeah, it was a good conversation. Don't be afraid. You're a patriot and America must be saved, because if America ends, that's it. Everywhere will be like Iran. All right. Good night, everybody. I will see you on Sunday unless something really interesting happens, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Love you all.